All right, we are back with another pick'em video. Going to be going over my favorite plays for the NBA today and also the NFL. We should have a decent amount of time to get these in, and definitely loving the board, especially for NFL. A good stacking opportunity for some underdog plays, I think. And then for NBA, there's only 5 games, so not as good as it was yesterday, but definitely still some decent value. So before we get into it, always go over my video picks from the day before. And we continue to just go one off. We've been 4 for 5 the past like 3 videos or so. I think we're on a 15-4 run, so definitely a solid run here. And I ended up flexing this one. If you put that into a 3-man, I just flexed it so I could show you guys. But John Collins and Sexton soared over against Charlotte. And then Jaylen Brown I think he had 8 points. He didn't do anything. The Clippers absolutely dominated the Celtics in Boston, too, which is pretty impressive because, Boston wins a lot at home. So, yeah, unfortunate one there with the blowout. And then Collins and Sexton were a great combo. I did mention, like, hey, you guys could run these in different slips. I think they're either both going to hit or definitely at least one of them is going to hit. And that happened to be the case that they both hit. So nice there. And then do want to mention a few other things, guys. If you are in the Discord, this is kind of what you see. So if you want to join the Discord, there's a free section of it, but you could also get in the Rich Club. It's $20 a month. If you don't want to pay that, if you use one of my codes and just DM me, say if you want to sign up for Underdog, Sleeper, Chalkboard, I highly recommend signing up for them anyway. But if you use one of my codes and DM me, say, hey, I used your code, send me a screenshot or something, I'll get you in the club for like a couple months. Like I just want good people in here, some guys that we could talk about sports, talk about lines, and just have a good time. We're still new and growing the Discord, so it'd be fun for me to just get a couple guys in. There's been a few guys that have come in and out, and guys that just talk all the time. I just give them the access for free, pretty much, just because I like that they're active and like to talk to them. So check it out. Do want to mention that these were picks that I put in really early last night, and I'll show you the lines. A lot of them moved, but do want to tell you guys, if you wanted to play any of these, I think you still could. So 3 of them did move: Chet, Bohan, and Vince. Those are probably my 3 favorite ones. Now I want to mention the 3 other ones that aren't shown. Devin Booker under 2.5 threes is off the board. That was just good value. Chet, I probably wouldn't take at 26.5. It was just great value at 27.5. And then Pascal and Scottie, they were both bumped down this morning, and now odds have completely changed. They actually slightly favor the over for those 2 guys. So I don't think I touched these guys again. Again, it was just looking really good last night. But I think you might be able to still attack Bohan and Vince Williams. So these are going to be kind of extra picks for you guys. If you want to play the bumps on that, I don't mind. But again, last night we were getting excellent value at 13.5 and 12.5. But yeah, this is still okay if you want to add these extra 2. If you need like one more pick or something, I think these guys are going to have a great game and great first half. So I like their matchups and whatnot. But also want to mention before we get into things, guys, the reason I was able to have such a good day yesterday, again, we had a great day in the Discord, was that Outlier just came up with a new update. So I know there's a lot of information going on, but do want to tell you guys the update is absolutely massive because I think we're going to be able to research plays that we haven't been able to research in the past. So I posted in Post Your Wins. I had a 25x for $500. My unit size is $20. I'm very conservative in that way. And then I also hit a 200 or a 10x. So this was an awesome stack. I was able to attack value that I never been able to attack because Outlier now gives us stats on like Giannis dunks line. Like I was able to find out that he had hit this 80% of the last 10 games. He had done it twice against the Pelicans last year, and he had like 5 dunks. So was able to do that. First half stats are now an Outlier. Fantasy score is now an Outlier. So if you're not an Outlier, I highly recommend trying it out. It's a 7-day free trial if you hit my link in the description. And yeah, they're changing the game with all these new lines. And it's integrated with PrizePicks. So you can see like, oh, they even show you that this is a demon or whatever. You can see the PrizePicks tab here. You just go up to here on the desktop, click PrizePicks, click Underdog or whatever you want to look at. And now they are integrated with these pick'em sites with fantasy scores and all that, with the visuals and everything like that. So super awesome update. And yeah, super excited to continue attack value there. So that will do it for an intro. Now let's get into some picks. I'm going to talk about the NFL plays first, just because there is a game starting in 2 or 3 hours here. So let's go to the board. Again, I talked about an underdog stack. I'm going to be going to Goff. You want to stack these up. You want to be over in the NBA tab. You want to stack these guys up. If Goff's going to have a good game, it's probably going to be Amon-Ra. It's probably going to be Laporta. So I'm going to go to his passing yards at 257. I'm going to go to Amon-Ra, match him up with him. Receiving yards at 85.5. Going to combo these guys for the overs. And then it's not an official game stack, so we actually are getting, I think we're still getting a 10x on this 4-man. But I'm going to go to Kelsey, or sorry, I'm going to go to Mahomes, just so it's a little easier. Mahomes right here. And then I'm going to go to Kelsey at 63.5. So comboing these guys up, I think we still get the 10x, which is nice. Yeah, so very correlated. You know, if Goff has a good game, Amon-Ra should have a good game. If Mahomes has a good game, Kelsey should have a good game. And both these teams are underdogs, but obviously, you know, they're the last 4 teams standing. These guys are all great teams. And, you know, I don't expect anyone to get blown out. If Mahomes is playing from behind, he's going to be passing. He's probably going to be passing up the middle to Kelsey, is, you know, tried and true tight end right there. If Jared Goff goes over his passing yards, you know, they're either up in this game or, you know, Amon-Ra is having a great game. You could add Laporta in or substitute Laporta. I don't mind that. You could add or substitute Rashee Rice in here also. But this is the way I'm thinking about it. Both these teams are underdogs. And to still kind of get that 10x on the 4-man, because PrizePicks is starting to shift stuff, which as they should, we can still get the 10x by doing, you know, the different games. So this is how I'm running it out. I posted this in the Discord, you know, hour or so ago. And again, I did multiple ways. I did put Rice in here. I even hedged it by doing all unders too, like a $5 all under player to kind of match up my my units or make up that money if they all were to miss. But yeah, loving this stack, and I'm not going to go too much into it. That's just kind of how I'm thinking. Again, if the Lions are down, if the Chiefs are down, they should be slinging that ball come the fourth quarter and you know, trying to come back. So that's how I'm going to run the NFL today. We'll go ahead and clear that. But let's go to get into some NBA picks. A lot of games, or 2 of these games, are starting off really early. So OKC in Detroit, and then Memphis and Indiana. I'm not going to play any of these in this video, but again, we talked about Bogdanovich in this game, and we talked about Vince Williams in this game. So if you want to add those and you see it in time, definitely try to go ahead and do that. But I'm going to be talking about these later games, so you have plenty of time to get these in. And yeah, let's start it off with Scottie Barnes. So Scottie, this was one that I got to go back to the NBA tab. This is one that I went to the under earlier, 15.5. I'm not going to the over now, but I like his 2.5 blocks and steals. We can see that there's a ton of players injured in this game, but it's still a 242.5 point total. So they're expecting it to be a high scoring game. It's Toronto at Atlanta, not much defense there. Also, RJ Barrett, that's kind of why this line got changed, I think, for Scottie Barnes, is now a game time decision, doubtful. Same with Pirtle. So these guys probably won't play. So it should be a lot of Scottie Barnes. I'd love to bet on Bruce Brown. We're just not getting any lines from him. Gary Trent Jr., I don't know if I can fully trust. But we're only getting Scottie Barnes and Gary Trent Jr. lines. So I like Scottie. His lines are really inflated, and he has not been hitting this since the trade. I think like 25.5 points. You know, he's been hitting that early in the year, but hasn't been hitting it lately. But something he's been consistent about is about the defense. This should be like a scrappy game. You know, totally different starting lineup than they're used to, especially after this trade. And then Atlanta's, you know, kind of been dealing with this injury for a while, especially DeAndre Hunter being the big one. But we should see big minutes from, you know, Trey, Saddiq, Jalen Johnson's been great lately too. So I like Scottie playing some defense. Let's go check him out on Outlier though, kind of see visually what he's been doing. So let's go to Scottie. It's fine. Again, first half stats is awesome to have. They have fantasy scores now, double doubles. But let's go find. Yeah, looks like there is a double line on Underdog. If you want to go to that, it's probably like a jalapeno or whatever they call it over there. Blocks and steals right here. All right, cool. So we are going to 2.5 blocks and steals. We're going on the over here. In 2023, he's gone over in 53% of the games. In the last 10, it is only 40%. Excuse me. But this team gives up a whole lot of, you know, points, rebounds, assists, but also steals and blocks, 24th and 22nd ranked. So we should see Scottie, you know, active on the defense. Again, I said it should be like a scrappy game. They're kind of skeleton crew over in Toronto. Sorry. And yeah, loving Scottie to be active today. Against this team before, they have played twice. He had 3 steals and blocks, and he had 1. Totally different teams back in December. But yeah, I love this, that, you know, 3 of the last 5 times he's played these guys, it has looked good. And Atlanta hasn't had too much changeover. We have seen the emergence of Johnson, Saddiq Bey getting a little bit more run. But yeah, should be a similar, you know, kind of scheme for these guys. So liking Scottie to be active on the defensive end. Let's go to our fantasy optimizer over on Daily Grind Fantasy. Guys, any of these tools you guys want, check them out. They're in the links in the description. Odds Jam is also a fantasy optimizer. They have a free trial if you want to try 7 days. Definitely go ahead and do that. DG Fantasy has a 25% off your first month. That also has odds jam as well if you use my code. But check them out. Optimizers are awesome. That's how you get some great market value when you're going for your plays, and it's a great place to start when you're looking for plays. But let's go to Scottie Barnes, and we will check out his blocks and steals popping up right on top. 52.25% chance to hit. DraftKings and BetMGM have this around minus 125, minus 130. So not the best odds in the world, but again, I'm kind of playing into this idea that this is going to be like a weird, scrappy type game with all the injuries, and Scottie will kind of be all over the place. So I like the odds that they're at least favoring the over. In terms of the projection model, we always go to this as well. I actually have not checked this, so curious to see where they are at. That's not the end of the world if they're not thinking the same thing, but it's always good to see. Yeah, so they're actually projecting 3. That would be great. That's all we need to get over. So 3.0, exactly. That's great to see that they're on this over as well. So loving all of it. Everything pointing towards the right direction. So Scottie will be our first play. Going to talk 2 more NBA plays here. Again, only 5-game slate, and not really talking about 2 of the early games. So not going too heavy on NBA today, but had a great day yesterday. So super excited for some NFL stacking and some good games today. But let's go to, I got to find out where my other plays were. Let's go to Saddiq Bey. So we kind of talked about him staying in the same game. Should be a high scoring one. I'm going to go to 19.5 points and rebounds. This is a line he's been killing lately. Again, with no Hunter, he's been playing a ton of minutes. Same with Jalen Johnson. The only problem with this one I have is that, it might be Jalen Johnson's game. It might be DeJounte Murray's game. Trey's going to do his thing. So Bey's been pretty consistent here, but if Jalen Johnson goes out and scores 25 tonight, that would be the only thing I think that would hurt us, or same thing with like DeJounte. But let's go to his line to kind of see where he's been at, if I can find it. Yeah, 19.5 points and rebounds, over in 6 of the last 10, so love to see that. In terms of Toronto, again, these are totally skewed numbers. We're going to see a completely different defense. I think a worse defense with Dennis Schroeder in there. Bruce Brown's pretty solid on D. Who else are they running out? Gary Trent Jr. This should be, not a great defense. Scottie's pretty solid. He's going to do everything. And then Shante Porter. So again, 242.5, highest spread or highest total points on the day. Should see a lot of scoring. So 6 of 10, love to see that. Not going to pay too much attention about the matchups here. 2023, 60%, so love to see that also. And in the head-to-head, they have played each other twice this year, and he went over in both those games as well. So curious to see his stats without DeAndre Hunter in the lineup. I know he's missed a lot of time, but 71% of the games without DeAndre Hunter, he's been over this. So absolutely loving this line. Again, should be a weird one. Could we get screwed on a Jalen Johnson, career game, a DeJounte Murray show, Trae Young going off potentially? But I like Saddiq. He's been very consistent, getting around this 20-22 mark every single time. So it looks great. So Saddiq on the over 19.5. Let's go to the odds over here on Odds Jam, see if we're getting some good market value. Let's go to Saddiq Bey. Find his line popping up right there, 52.3% chance to hit. Again, not the best odds in the world, but the best one for him, who I think is going to have a solid game. DraftKings has this at minus 125. Everyone else is around minus 130. So absolutely love to see that. They are on the over as well. And then in terms of the projection model, I didn't look at here again, but let's go to Saddiq. They're on the same page. They are. So 19.5, they're projecting 21.11. That's about where my projection would be, actually. And nice, again, to see everything pointing towards the over here. So Saddiq and Scottie looking really good. And then my last play, going to be Nikola Vucevic going up against Portland. No Zach LaVine. Again, a guy I wanted to target today, and just going for his best line. Now, his lines have been moving. I did have a 19.5 points and assists line. I think that is gone. Or maybe it was 20.5 points assists. It's up to 21. Definitely check this one out. The hit rate looks incredible for this one. But in terms of odds, now that has been bumped up a little bit, I think I'm just going to go to his 29.5 points rebounds. That is what I went to, but it got bumped also. So let's go back to his points and assists. We'll check that out. Again, I just think he's going to have a good game, so I wanted to attack him, especially with no LaVine. Just going up against Portland, a depleted team. They're not the best in defense, and Vuce is getting a lot of run lately. So let's go to Nikola. I think Kobe White and DeMar's lines might just be a little bit too inflated. Just saw a little bit more value going to Nikola. But let's go to 20.5 points and assists. He's gone over in 4 of the last 10 games, so not the best in the world. Or that's why it's 21.5. But again, at 21, it's a little bit different. So over 21, we can actually look at that now. So that's awesome. This is, again, part of the update for PrizePicks integration. Now we can actually look at this line. So we can see there's 3 pushes here. So that's not the end of the world. In 41% of the games, he's gone over this or pushed. So actually, or not pushed. These don't count towards the hit rate. So 41% of the time, he's gone over this. In terms of points and assists, again, we talked about Portland being kind of a weaker matchup here. So pretty solid in terms of that. And then the games he played against these guys last year, different teams. But he played well, 23 points in both those games. He actually had the exact same stat line. So if he goes out and gets 23 and 4, that's all we need. But I like it. Games without Levine, this gets you even a little bit better. 50% of the games. So in terms of that, loving to see that. And then also wanted to check out his points and rebounds line because he rebounds really well against this team. I think you might even be able to just go to PRA. But we'll check out the odds and kind of go from there. Points and rebounds. Again, he's been rebounding really well. Maybe I'll just go to the rebounds tab and kind of show you guys that. 17, 14, 16, 15. If he has one of those games, this would be a shoe-in. And Portland gives up a whole bunch of rebounds too. So you could go a whole bunch of ways with this. I think you could attack him a couple ways. Last time they played, he had 15 and he had 11. Again, these are both last year. But let's just go to the fantasy optimizer. This is sometimes when I'm like, which line should I go to? Lines are moving. Where should I attack this guy? Because I think he's going to have a good game. Let's go find him over here and see what they say in terms of the best line for him. So they actually like his steals line, his rebounds line under the points. Maybe just go to points at 17.5. That might be the way to run this because everything else is pretty much on the under in terms of market value. So maybe that's what we do. Maybe we just go to points. Maybe we're overthinking it with the rebounds, with the assists. With the lines movement, let's just go to points in the video picks. So that's what we're going to do. Vucevic over 17.5 points. And that will be our last three. So we talked NFL. We talked some NBA. Again, not a whole bunch of games. But we're going Scottie Barnes over 2.5 blocks and steals. Saddiq Bey over 19.5 points and rebounds. And then Vucevic over 17.5 points. But yeah, that will do it. Definitely hit the links in the description. Also, guys, want to point out Underdog is doing a flash sale. They do this stuff all the time. They have Freaky Friday. If you're not on Underdog, check my link in the description. But if you want to use the code, it's RichPicks. Check out Sleeper. They have some discounts going on from Wildcard Wednesday. They just extended them to the weekend. We got CMC down 20% on his rush yards. We got Lamar Jackson down like 22% on his passing yards. So almost like free squares over there on Sleeper. And then Chalkboard has the alt lines. They're fun to mess around with. You can sometimes get a free square popping up on them. They discount lines all the time. So it's just good to have all these different sites. And definitely hit the links. It helps me out as well. Tools are down in the description too. But yeah, that will do it. I'm rambling. So let's make some money tonight, and I'll see you guys in the next one.